Spain just became football's most terrifying problem.
Spain, champions of Europe yet again, and the best team won it. Williams, and thundering for Spain by Ferran Torres! Spain are the champions! Spain have seized their second star!
It's a remarkable turnaround for a side that not that long ago had lost its way after 3 straight early World Cup exits. But 4 years on from their latest humiliation, they've become the team nobody wants to face. There's clarity in their football again, purpose in every phase of play, and they don't just win games, they control them completely. So, how did Spain become the most feared side in world football in just 4 years? Before their success, Spain had been seen as a national team that always felt like it was missing something. They could play with brilliance, dominate spells, yet still never quite make that decisive leap into becoming a true global powerhouse. In the modern era, their World Cup progress had never gone beyond the quarter-finals, and even in Europe, their last European Championship title dated all the way back to 1964. The Spanish shirt has been worn by legends of the game: Di Stefano, Zamora, Raúl and Fernando Hierro, among others. And yet, despite the names etched into football history, major trophies still never came. That was until the late 2000s. La Roja's golden era started at Euro 2008, when a team led by Luis Aragonés defeated Germany in the final to lift the continental title for the first time in 44 years. Central to their unprecedented dominance at the turn of 2010 was their possession-heavy style. Tiki-Taka, as it became known, has its roots in the revolutionary Catalan football pioneered by Johan Cruyff's Barcelona in the early 1990s, but Tiki-Taka's most successful modern proponent was Pep Guardiola. During the same period as Spain's incredible international success, Pep's Barca were demolishing the club game, sweeping an astonishing 14 of the 19 trophies available to them between 2008 and 2012. After their Euro 2008 triumph under Luis Aragonés, Spain's tiki-taka became more refined under his successor, Vicente del Bosque. In his lineups, Del Bosque spammed ball-playing midfielders as much as possible, including fielding the iconic Barca trio of Sergio Busquets, Andres Iniesta and Xavi, as well as Xabi Alonso of Real Madrid and David Silva of Manchester City. Hungry for more, the next step for this generation of talent was the World Cup 2 years later. La Roja's journey in South Africa was far from straightforward, but after a shock-opening 1-0 defeat to Switzerland, they gradually found their rhythm, growing stronger with each performance before battling past Portugal, Paraguay and Germany in a series of hard-fought knockout ties. In the final against the Netherlands, Soccer City in Johannesburg watched on as Casillas cemented his place among the greats with a crucial 1v1 save against Arjen Robben, before Iniesta struck a dramatic extra-time winner to crown Spain world champions for the first time ever. There was simply no stopping Spain, who followed that up by retaining their Euro title on easy mode, capping off the tournament with a devastating 4-0 demolition of Italy that underlined just how overpowered they had become. However, as this golden generation neared retirement, La Roja's fanatic devotion to possession-first football began to yield mixed results. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, we'd be incredibly grateful if you subscribed. Your support helps us grow and continue creating the content you love. One of life's enduring truths is that whatever goes up must come down. And although everyone knew Spain's reign at the summit would one day end, as all dynasties do, few imagined their downfall would arrive so quickly or so abruptly. The first tremor came at the 2013 Confederations Cup final, where a Neymar-inspired Brazil tore through La Roja and exposed cracks in a side that had long seemed invincible. Even then, a World Cup group stage exit just 12 months later felt unthinkable. But that's exactly what happened. The crazier part was that Del Bosque's men were already eliminated by match day 2, getting cooked 5-1 against the Netherlands, losing to Chile 2-0 before securing a consolation victory against Australia in their final game. 4 years later, Spain fell short once again, getting knocked out by host nation Russia in the last 16 after limping through the group stage with just a win and 2 draws. Their struggles were further compounded by the turmoil following Julen Lopetegui's reckless decision to accept the Real Madrid job for the 2018-19 season, without informing the Spanish FA, leaving them with little choice but to sack him just days before the tournament began. In the most recent edition in Qatar, Spain kicked off with a stunning 7-0 thrashing of Costa Rica, but then drew against Germany and suffered defeat to Japan. After barely scraping through to the knockouts, they were put out of their misery by Morocco in the last 16, losing on penalties after missing all 3 attempts against a goalkeeper who looked like he had a personal vendetta against them. In short, the events of 2014 marked the end of a glorious era. Circumstances in 2018 made success nearly impossible, and by 2022 it was clear that the squad had outgrown its previous talent and lacked the superstar players to propel them forward. For 8 turbulent years, the questions never stopped. Who could possibly fill the void left by Puyol and Casillas? Where would Spain find another Xavi or Iniesta? And with so many pillars of that golden generation gone, could Tiki-Taka, the very rhythm of their dominance, still survive at the highest level? In many ways, Spain's gradual decline mirrored Pep's departure from the Camp Nou in 2012, as if the philosophy that once unified club and country had lost its guiding force. As early as the 2014 World Cup, Del Bosque himself recognised the need for a more direct style, evident in his decision to call up the rampaging Diego Costa as his starting forward for the tournament. Every coach between then and 2022, including Lopetegui, Fernando Hierro, Luis Enrique and Robert Moreno, has discussed modernising the team. Yet, each iteration has primarily fallen back on a possession-heavy approach, but as Spain's tiki-taka dominance reached its zenith, opponents began to counter it, quite literally, with effective low blocks and fast breaks, leading to some of the worst embarrassments in the country's football history. Against Russia in 2018, for instance, Hierro's Spain side had a staggering 79% possession and took 23 shots, yet scored just once before being eliminated on penalties. Then, against Morocco in 2022, Enrique's side recorded 77% possession and completed over 1,000 passes, but laughably mustered just 1 shot on target over 120 minutes, losing once again in the ensuing shootout. Warning signs were evident in their previous 2 matches too, where they posted a combined expected goals total of just 1.49 against Germany and Japan, despite averaging 75% possession. For stretches, it felt as though Spain were holding possession for the sake of it, with their lack of penetration resulting in disappointing early World Cup exits, though these setbacks would ultimately serve as the perfect catalyst for change. By this point, it was obvious that Spain would need a reset as sharp as post-nut clarity to climb back to the summit. That reset began immediately after the 2022 World Cup with the appointment of Luis de la Fuente, a coach steeped in the federation's youth system and deeply familiar with the new generation of talent. Having led Spain's under-21s and under-23s, De La Fuente understood both the technical profile and the mentality of the emerging stars. More importantly, he brought a willingness to evolve. But his journey to transforming the national team hasn't been entirely smooth. In the early stages of his tenure, he struggled to establish a clear identity and cycled through nearly 50 players in his first 10 matches. A damaging defeat to Scotland in his second game in charge also added to the pressure from the get-go. The manager eventually weathered those storms, and as his reign progressed, he gradually settled on a core group of players in a pragmatic style, quicker, more vertical, and less predictable. Although the foundations of possession football remained, this was no longer tiki-taka for tiki-taka's sake. It was a modern adaptation designed to blend Spain's traditional control with greater directness while maximising the explosive profiles of its latest young stars. The best examples are the wingers Nico Williams and, more notably, Yamal, the ridiculously talented cheat code of a teenager and one of the best dribblers around. To make the most of their pace and directness, De La Fuente has allowed them the freedom to break ranks and take on defenders, a departure from previous Spain teams where wide players often drifted centrally to help circulate possession. Perhaps inevitably, the missing X-factor that would end up propelling Spain's resurgence emerged from none other than La Masia. Yet even by the lofty standards of their graduates, Yamal feels like something almost otherworldly. From his very first touches following his debut in April 2023, the comparisons were unavoidable. Yamal played with the audacity of Lionel Messi in his early days, fearless in one-on-one situations, gliding past defenders, the ball seemingly glued to his left foot. Players of that calibre appear once in a generation. And in a period of uncertainty for both club and country, Barcelona and Spain knew they had found a beacon of hope. Just over a year later, that promise had already become a reality at Euro 2024. He wasn't alone, but certainly at the forefront of an exciting new generation. Spain cruised through World Cup qualifying, but their tournament began with a surprise setback against Cape Verde in the opening group match. Safe to say it was a wake-up call, because from then on they tightened up, found their rhythm, and grew stronger with every game. They went on to concede just 1 goal in 8 matches, a remarkable defensive run that gave them the platform to take control of games and impose their style. In a tournament packed with superstars and against a France side many had tipped to win it all, Spain's strength wasn't about individuals, it was about the team. Their run culminated in a final against the defending champions Argentina, where their identity shone the brightest: intelligent possession, control in midfield, and composure under pressure. While others relied on moments, Spain relied on structure. While others chased the game, Spain dictated it. And on the biggest stage of all, La Roja have finally ended a wait for a second star that, back in 2010, nobody imagined would last this long. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more content like this. Also, don't forget to hit the notifications bell so you never miss a beat. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.